I'll just start with the origins of the company. 6 people, 1-bedroom apartment in Shanghai about 3 years ago. Kind of started, did a lot of work for, did a lot of work for, so primarily we're an art house. We're an art service provider. We've done art for World of Warcraft, Command and Conquer, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Star Wars. Do a lot of work with Zynga, CrowdStrike, and stuff like that. And so we kind of got our start with that, and then all of a sudden this extremely popular novel right here came out in China. This guy's like the Stephen King of China, super huge. There's 8 different books in this series, Daomu, which literally translates to tomb robber. So then he kind of saw our art, was friends with our art director, came to us and go, hey, would you be willing to make a graphic novel based on my book? And we were like, hell yeah. So we spent about 15 months taking our sweet time. This is our first fully owned IP. Usually we do bits and pieces of art for big things, so we really wanted to make it perfect. So it was released in China a 1.5 to 2 years ago. Sold out almost instantly. It's one of the best-selling graphic novels in the last 20 years in China.
Well, you're also working with a guy who's already famous.
Yeah, who's ridiculously famous. And a guy who actually, a lot of his material is derived from his grandfather, who was a tomb robber. He would go into these mountains, and based on the bedtime stories this guy told,
almost like the way Art Spiegelman tells the stories of his father.
Yeah, exactly, a lot like that. So then, so it was really popular in China, and then the next step was we were based in Shanghai and San Francisco. The next step was to bring it over to the States, and that's where I came in. I did the American write-up. So pretty much the most exciting thing about this, as I mentioned briefly, was kind of finding these holes in Chinese history and this mythology that's just like, it's mind-blowing. Some of the stuff that's like been documented in China that nobody here knows about, and kind of taking that and kind of pulling out universal themes out of that, really extrapolating on
bridge the gap.
Yeah, extremely. I mean, there's a few minor tweaks we had to do. All the art's the same. The art is amazing. A lot of it's inspired by the Dark Tower, the Stephen King, the Jay Lee. Yeah, and yeah, we're bringing it over, doing some stuff. Have plans for the whole transmedia canon.
Are you looking just to America, or do you want to try to get the Japanese market?
Well, yeah, Concept Art House owns the global rights for the IP, with the exception of mainland China, where the original author still owns it. But yeah, we want to take it everywhere.
In terms of art style, mixed medium, digital, paint, what do you guys do?
Primarily digital. A few things here and there, but mostly it's all done on computer.
What do you guys do in the book? How do you break down your panels, your structure? When you do on the computer, is it panel by panel, or do you try set up 11 by 17?
I can't completely speak to that. I'm pretty much just the writer, and the art's been done for about 2 years now.
Okay, I'm going to ask the writing part. As a writer, is it hard to do a literal translation from a story that's translated?
A literal translation, I mean, there were definite challenges in it, but I mean, it was really exciting because as a writer, if you're creating your own material, you lose that objectivity really quickly. So you can't see it for what it is. You see it for what you think, what you want it to be.
How you're going to make it.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Daomu was that the foundation was there, and there's this endless well of source material you can pull from. So it was really fun to kind of build off the strengths of the story, while at the same time throwing little bits in here and there.
Now, who's distributing this in America?
Image Comics.
Image Comics, yeah, the movie. Yeah. Did they just latch on? Did you guys meet them? How did that happen?
James, our CEO, was friends with one of the higher-ups at Image in Berkeley, and kind of brought it to him, and he's just like, man, this is stunning work. We want to put it out. So then, I mean, it was pretty much that easy.
And what's cool, Image now is self-creator-owned. You kind of hold on to it.
It's great.
Are they, even though it's creator-owned, do they give you any little feedback on maybe you guys should do this here?
It depends on who you bring it to. There's a few people that we kind of did some unofficial consulting with that kind of like helped us with the technical aspects of it. But pretty much like you just make it yourself and you say, what do you think? And they're like, we want to publish it, and then you're off to the races.
Obviously, the comic books are coming movies and everything. Being now you're with Image, the third largest company in the world, what's the possibility of seeing this translate to maybe animation or?
Very, very very strong possibility. I mean, yeah. I mean, to an extent, it is like this. But I mean, we have a video game demo that's kind of like a PC Xbox Live type game that we're kind of seeing what happens with. We have a script ready to go. We've taken some meetings with some Hollywood folks that just want to jump on it before it's even out, and we're like, we want to focus on the comic book right now. We want to see the response to it, and kind of based on that, we'll kind of play it by ear. But plans for everything.
Well, it's like the idea, like people like Frank Miller, whose work's been literally translated from the book. You don't want to go like, all right, you do it and have like a lost situation. You want something like, guys, try to stick to this kind of thing.
Yeah. Just because it's our first fully owned IP, we're kind of nervous to like give it away,
Now, I mean, the studios in China are getting bigger budgets now. Are they looking into it? Like,
actually, the writer is actually, I think there is a movie in development in China right now, which it's great, but we really have no sway over there. So
but that could also be like, hey, look, it's over here. We should do our own version. Not like
exactly,
stuff like that.
A movie made in China will only help the chances.
Right, exactly. All right, anything else you need to promote this out?
Just one little bit thing. Kind of an example of the kind of mythology that we're trying to extrapolate on.
Fantastic.
Okay. One thing that's really exciting is, say, for instance, about 600-700 years ago, the second most powerful man in China was the emperor's personal man-at-hand and architect. This guy was a master of feng shui. He could build or destroy cities on a whim, according to the principles of feng shui. And one of the big mysteries that we're playing with Daomu is, like, in real life, this guy, nobody knows how he died, nobody knows where he's buried. There's been rumors, like, in folklore, like he died a watery death and stuff. So we're like, okay, so we came up with some cool ideas, like he built a city on a boat, like a floating city in the ocean, then sunk it, and that's his tomb. And a couple issues into Daomu, we start to explore that.
Well, because you get that freedom because you don't really know. It's
exactly.
You can't ask somebody.
The holes in history, it's beautiful raw material, man. I mean, that's some of the funnest writing that anybody can ever do, is finding these fascinating holes in history wherever they're writing. And
especially for a writer, you get that little
so you get the foundation, like I said before. You get this, and you're like, oh, there's a hole here. What can I put in it?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. You gotta check this out. What's the website?
www.conceptarthouse.com. The actual website for the book is thedaomu.com. THEDAOMU.com.
Now, as the writer, are there American translations of his writing?
No, not currently.
So only with you guys in the book, that's all we're going to get?
Yeah, we got it.
Right, so that's pretty good for you.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.